signal telling him to signal. However, past a slower CSX train parked at the front of him, switching over to track 1, so that the MARC train could continue on to track 2. Usually, this would be a routine procedure, but tonight, it was different. For reasons unknown to this day, 286 ignored the approach signal, going approximately 2. Then, stopped at the next signal, which would be red. The Capital Limited would pass in front of him, switching over to track 1, so that the MARC train could continue down to 30 miles an hour 2. Usually, this would be a routine procedure, but tonight, it was different. For reasons unknown to this day, 286 ignored the approach signal, going approximately 66 miles an hour after departing Kensington. The Capital Limited had already begun switching onto the switch ahead. However, as the 286 rounded the blank corner, the engineer threw on the emergency brake. The Capital Limited had already begun switching onto the switch ahead. However, as the 286 rounded the blank corner, the engineer threw on the emergency brakes, but it was too little, too late.
Fire department.
Okay, there's a train that derailed. It is on fire.
Is it a freight train or is it a passenger
train? It looks like an Amtrak train.
And it's on fire, you say?
Yes.
Okay, we're on the way for that.
The collision was devastating. The two trains collide head-on into each other at 38 miles per hour, derailing both trains. In the chaos, 255's fuel tank ruptures and burning fuel leaks into the MARC passenger cars, setting them on fire, burning most of the passengers alive, or choking them with the toxic smoke from the fire. Passengers were even furiously trying to bang the windows open, hoping to escape, but most of the time, they wouldn't shatter. When morning breaks, the full scale of the disaster was seen. 7752 was almost split in half from the collision. 255 was thrown to the side of the tracks with its rear end badly burnt. 811 was lightly damaged. As for 73, the locomotive was almost flipped onto its side, but still upright. Most of the Amtrak passengers were okay, but I'm sorry to say, the same can't be said for the MARC passengers. In the end, 11 people perished, including all the Amtrak was thrown to the front for the MARC train, who were in 7752 at the time. Then there's the question, what caused this to happen, and why? Well, it's clear that the engineer of 286 ignored the signals, but the reason why still remains a mystery to this day. Kind of. Did he forget about the signal altogether? Was he suicidal? No one knows. But whatever the case, this was obviously human error. Obviously, people are for automatic train braking systems, such as positive train control, which could have helped prevent the accident. The wreck also exposed a very bad design fault in the F40PH, and other locomotives just as old. Here, let's take F40PH number 243 for example. Here you see, the fuel tank of the locomotive is right below the frames in between the axles. So when 255 got hit on the side, it broke open, sending burning fuel into the MARC passenger cars. Now, comparing that to the P40DC, whereas the fuel tank is built up inside the frame, so it won't get damaged. Now for this one, I use GE Genesis number 32 for example. So if 811 got hit, rather than 255, the resulting impact wouldn't be enough to start a fuel leakage inside 811, let alone start a fire. Emergency responders were unable to open the doors on the lead passenger cars. The passengers in the other cars tried to break the windows open, but because they were so overbuilt, they wouldn't shatter, trapping them with the fire and the smoke. The NTSB found the emergency procedures for the emergency exits inadequate and requested multiple changes, including that passenger cars to be required to have quick release mechanisms for exterior doors, as well as windows that can be removed in the event of an emergency, and that the exits can be clearly marked with luminescent or retroreflective material. This is standard on all coaches today, where a lever is pulled to release the rubber that holds the window in place, so that the window can be easily removed, and you can jump down. 255 was deemed a total loss and scrapped, as well as 7752, and both coaches of the 286. 811 continued to be in service for a while, before being put into storage and will most likely never run again. And of course, 73 is the lucky survivor, and still runs to this very day. The NTSB also strongly criticized CSX and the Federal Transit Administration for the removal of a signal between Kensington and Georgetown Junction as part of capacity improvements for the Metropolitan Subdivision. The NTSB stated that if the signal was left alone, it would have reduced the likelihood of the kind of human error which caused the accident. Because of that, the engineer and the conductor of the Capital Limited filed to hire crash being shared